Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Sunday the 18th of September 2022. Thanks for joining me. I want to use the Magical Dogs Tarot today. This is a deck that it took a while to grow on me, but I really like this deck. Let's see what these cards have to say. And I think if I remember correctly, there's something about the minor arcana suits that they've changed. Fire, sea, world, fire. So nothing major. Sky is going to be air. And then earth. Okay. So let's see what the cards have to say about Sunday then, and what energy you'll be working with. Have a look. So the first card is the Nine of Sky. That's the Nine of Swords. Then we have the Two of Sky. So the Two of Swords. And finally, the Six of Fire. Wow. Okay, so this is the kind of process where a lot of pressure is exerted, and it's an unpleasant process, but you come out of that dark night of the soul, victorious and triumphant. And it's kind of like, you know, when they say a piece of coal, if you put enough pressure on it, you get a diamond. That's the kind of energy I'm picking up on. So the key, I feel, is a willingness to do the work on whatever is troubling you or whatever you're ruminating about, instead of overthinking, trying to take action, looking at the best case scenario, having hope that things can turn out differently. And again, jumping into action then based on those positive, deliberately positive ideas. That's going to put you in this spot where you've really achieved something and overcome a difficulty. So Sky in this deck is swords, and the suit of swords is the element of air. That's a masculine element. And if you look at the tarot in general, the suit of swords is the one that can be seen traditionally as the most negative. Most of the cards, especially when you get to the top, are about feeling trapped and unclear, overwhelmed, worried, really like at a certain point heartbroken and overwhelmed, and like there's so much difficulty that you're powerless, and that these obstacles are insurmountable, basically. That's the sense of the Nine of Sky, particularly. In this deck, we've got a dog kind of taking shelter in this cave. We've got lightning and thunder outside, and really there's not much he can do. He has to wait until this passes, and he has to kind of bow to the greater strength of this natural phenomena, right? I mean, he can't just say there is no storm and go out and do whatever you wanted. He'll get struck by lightning or he'll be soaking wet. So this deck particularly is saying that it's not so much about what's going on internally, but there may be things happening in your life which are upsetting or which are less than ideal, which cause you to worry. So maybe it's someone they promised you something, you had an agreement, and that person ignores the agreement, and you end up worrying and being overly concerned. Or it's not being able to get any sleep because you've got a busy day ahead and there's some unpleasant things in that day, and you're just kind of, you know, hunching your shoulders up and you're just waiting for these 12 hours to pass by. It's this kind of thing. It's like, let me just get my head down, weather this storm, and try and make the most of it. So the good news is that you're on board, as you're feeling productive, you're feeling like, what am I doing next? And it's not so much internal, where it's like I'm worried for no reason or I'm at war with myself. It's really not that. It may be that something is unpleasant, and the cards here are encouraging you to face anything like that, to face the music, because the outcome is going to be a lot better than you thought. So whether this is work, or this is a conversation you have to have during the day, or bumping into someone you're estranged with, if you look at the best possible outcome, you can actually manifest that simply by taking action and doing the legwork. You have a lot of control here, and internally things are looking sheltered and good. Like in this cave in itself, let's say that's your inner world, and the storm out there is the outer world. This is comfy and warm and dry. The Two of Swords, usually that's a woman who's holding her hands across her chest, holding a sword in each hand. And this is someone who's blindfolded and she feels intimidated. She doesn't know what's going on. She senses that something untoward is happening. She's trying to protect herself. And because of that focus on protection, she becomes really disempowered and she becomes kind of a sitting duck. The one thing that the Two of Swords relies on is the intuition and getting a sense of what is going on. So it's trying to gain information. What would be much more helpful to the Two of Swords, I'm just thinking about this now, is actually pulling the blindfold off and saying, instead of trying to use all my senses, my hearing and my sense of smell, to try and understand what's going on in this difficult, dangerous position, instead, if there's a way to kind of get the arms out of that defensive position and you swing the sword or use it to cut off the blindfold, then you're actually able to see things very clearly. So there's always hope. There's another way through this, and there's a promise that things will make sense in future. That's the comfort of the moon here and all this water. It's like, even if things don't make sense, like with this dog stuck up in a tree, doesn't know how to get down, but in an hour or two, once it's looked at every possible angle of this situation, it may find a way down. But it has to look for itself. So that's really, that is a key thing here. To look for itself. It's down to you to look out for yourself in this situation and to see what's going on. And then you'll find a way out of it. You'll find a solution that benefits you and other people. So the cards are kind of encouraging you not to feel powerless. If there is a situation that comes into your life that is problematic, maybe you get a bill or someone drops a bombshell on you, you're having to deal with something that you think is a waste of time and you've got disdain for it, and it just creates a lot of friction and negativity. Facing it head on and dealing with the situation as quickly as possible will mean that you don't go into negativity and become grumpy about it. You immediately discover the hope that this can actually be solved if only you'd look enough. And then the Six of Fire, the Six of Wands, this is someone who's done something difficult and someone who's then celebrated by the community because he solved the problem. So let's say they were all stuck up a tree. And this is the only one who got down or figured it out. And then he, barked up, the branches. This is how you do it. And they all like, hooray, you're wonderful. And then once they've all gone down, they throw this party and say, you're the best. So he's done something. That's why they're looking up to him. And that's what you're able to do for yourself. You're able to overcome something that difficult that you may not like doing, but it's definitely worth doing because you get a lot out of it at the end. Fire is about life purpose and passion. So it's almost like you can do something today that you're really proud of and that builds your self-esteem and that builds your confidence about who you are, where you can look back on the day and you're like, hey, I did a good job today and I was capable and I was, whatever it is you value, I was charming or I was effective or whatever it is that you take pride in any kind of situation. So we've got air and fire. Both of those elements are masculine. And the masculine elements are about doing. So not about contemplating, but jumping into action. Not about analyzing and assessing and researching. It's about talking or making a decision. So trying not to resist that urge to go ahead with something. I think just giving into that urge to move forward, I think that's really the key to maintain that momentum. And the good news about these masculine elements is that when you do work with them, you get extreme outcomes, sometimes extremely destructive outcomes. Fire burns the house down and it's just leaves ashes. But then other times, the fire exists in a person and it's this determination that allows them to achieve something great. So it's really, the day is kind of saying, this is kind of a teaser, these three cards, because they're saying if you make an effort here today, you maintain a positive mindset, then you'll be surprised by the outcome. You may build something that's much more significant than you initially thought, or you couldn't have imagined to begin with. It wasn't the plan. And then you realize, oh, this has led me to this situation, which actually would totally work. So keep your eyes and ears open and keep an open mind. If there's an opportunity to do the work, absolutely say yes to it and see what you get as a result. Number wise, we've got 9 and 2 is 11 and 6 is 17. Yeah. 1 and 7 is 8 and 8 is strength and power in numerology. Yeah, the 8th card of the major arcana, it's a woman kind of tending to the beast. It's having the strength to control what seems to be uncontrollable. So it's this unusual, it's this excessive strength, it's spiritual resilience and power on planet Earth. So you do have the stamina to deal with difficulties and to turn that around and look at the positive, and then the world surprises you with this amazing outcome. I love it. Okay, so have a great day. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to audio reading with me. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and the little bell next to it and share the video online. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.